Hey, what's up everybody? This is Superwork501 and today I want to show you guys an extremely strong boss killing build for Moze. Now this build is going to require you have a bit more gear and a bit more specialized gear than my last Moze boss killing build, but this build is probably going to kill bosses quite a bit quicker. Now also there are quite a few weird interactions with how this build actually works I'm going to have to go over, but we'll get to that part once we get to the gear. So let's go straight into the talents. So this is going to be an explosive Moze build, but for the talents I want to go into, instead of just going straight as much damage as you possibly can, because you don't really need that, I went into a bit more utility talents. There's still a lot of high damage talents, but a little bit more on the utility, because this build does heavily focus and require on the unlimited ammo after exiting Iron Bear for 5 seconds. It is very much built completely around this talent, and being able to have your Iron Bear at the points you need it are pretty much required to make this build work. So first off, in the bottom of list max tree, Cloud of Lead, increased incendiary damage, every 4 shot doesn't consume ammo. Struck the Embers, increased incendiary ammo. 5 out of 5 Scrappy, mainly for the handling increase, because especially with some of the explosive weapons, being able to shoot them as fast as possible without having to reload ever, you can get some pretty heavy recoil. So you definitely want this to be able to always hit as many crit spots as you want. Scorching RPMs for fire rate, critical hit damage, Iron Bear damage, all those actually will help. Specialist Bear, because we do have Auto Bear, so Specialist Bear just gives it increased damage since it's out there. Iron Bank we really don't need, mainly to get lower in the tree. Some for the road, which is the most important talent, then 1 extra in it to click just for extra damage that we really don't need, but it's an extra talent point. So then Demolition Woman Fire in the Skag Den, whenever you do explosive damage, you'll do bonus incendiary damage. This is a massive damage increase for this build. Then 5 out of 5 Stainless Steel Bear, which basically the only reason I went into this is because it increases Iron Bear's damage, which helps with Auto Bear, and there's really nothing else super good for this for boss killing. 3 out of 3 means of destruction, which can help if you're in between having Iron Bear. Sometimes you do need to do a little bit damage, or you should be doing some damage, and this can definitely give you ammo back a decent bit of the time. Then Torque Cross Promotion, just to get lower in the tree mainly, which has a chance of double your splash damage radius. Then we went, I think, 1 into Vampire, went Auto Bear, and then this is one of the most important parts, is Explosive Punctuation. Whenever you deal splash damage, your action skill cooldown rate is briefly increased by 25%, and that is massive because, like I said, you want Iron Bear up as much as possible so you can always have it when you need it. Then Short Fuse, just for extra damage, which is actually pretty strong since it's all explosive damage, so this can just always proc and do a bunch of extra damage. Now for our Iron Bear, for the actual guns on it, going to be using Vanquisher Rocket Pods and then Target Softening, which makes targets take 50% increased damage when they get shot by it, which does work with Auto Bear, so he'll be shooting stuff and pretty much making enemies take more damage from you, which helps. And that's pretty much the entire talent tree. And there are a few different weapons you can use with this. Pretty much any Torg weapon that has really good damage off their stuck gyro jets is going to be pretty good. Red Lines can be pretty decent. Alchemist can be decent. Something like Bang Sticks can be decent. But the main thing you want are quickies. Now the reason you want these is because you can see here, stuck gyro jets increase damage by 75% for each one. And you can get these on ×2. So the damage stacking is insane, especially with having 5% or unlimited ammo for 5 seconds after Iron Bear with 1.43% fire rate, or 1.43 fire rate. You're going to be able to shoot out so many of these. You'll see in the video, you see in the footage that you just absolutely destroy any boss you hit with these. Now, these are not that good without your unlimited ammo. You can shoot only a few shots of one of these, and if it's a weapon like this, you can shoot 1 shot. If you don't get any ammo back with means of destruction, you're shooting 1 shot. Even though it's ×2, it's still going to do somewhat decent damage. This very much requires you have your Auto Bear for your burst windows. And even certain boss fights, even right now with just this gear, are actually really well built, or really well timed for how much cooldown we have with this Iron Bear. Now take into consideration the Guardian rank talents still aren't working, and the talent right here topped off will be absolutely massive for this build. Action skill cooldown rate increases while full shields. Now this like doubles your action skill cooldown rate, so it's massive. Once these talents get reactivated, this build is going to get a massive buff from having the talents back on, a lot more so than a lot of other builds. And pretty much what you're going to do is you're just going to spam quickie shots on whatever boss you're facing, and it's just going to blow up after your 5 seconds of infinite ammo is up. Use all your ammo, reload. It's just going to blow up and do a ridiculous amount of damage. Now I'll show you how some of the damage, like how crazy some of this damage could be. You'll see in the video against bosses, but you can just shoot constantly with one of these, and also you'll see the recoil is even crazy. As you'll see, every single one of those hits are like just tens of thousands of damage. And there are some weird interactions with this. So first off, for your shield and grenade mods, usually every build now is using on action skill end, you deal extra elemental damage for 10 seconds. Now, if you're just doing your 5 seconds after you X out of Iron Bear, you're shooting all your shots for 5 seconds, then you're shooting your extra shots that you have after your infinite ammo, then you reload. Most of the time, you're not going to get the damage increase from this, depending on how quick it is, I guess. Because after this 10 seconds, you won't get the extra damage. Now, you definitely will sometimes with Iron Bear, because as you can see there, it was actually proccing some of the extra damage. And it really depends on how much ammo your magazine has, because these quickies can roll, I think, it's either 4 or 6. So as you see, that actually got all of the extra damage from the shock here. Now, if you kept getting ammo back after your infinite ammo and didn't reload quick enough, you wouldn't get the extra damage for 10 seconds, because this doesn't snapshot it. So it's only if this buff is actually up is the only time you're going to get the damage. If I have this buff up, shoot a target with these stickies, and then I wait like 15 seconds or whatever, then reload, and they blow up, I won't get that damage. So it's not snapshotted when it comes to that. As you see, it didn't do any shock damage. So that's kind of how that specific one works. For our class mod, I couldn't really test this because this does, the longer Moze goes without reloading, the more splash damage she deals up to 100%. Now, I couldn't really test this. It's really hard to test something like this to see if this actually works. Now, I'm pretty sure this doesn't snapshot either, and I'm not certain how much percentage it's going to give you, because right when you reload, your explosives start to explode. So I'm not exactly certain on how this is going to work. It should increase your damage, and you can get good rolls like this, and none of the other class mods are really going to increase your damage anyway, so you should probably get one of these. Artifact, nothing really. I just went with area of effect damage because it should affect ours, and that's pretty much it. I don't really use anything else on an artifact for this build. Now for the shield's pretty important. You're going to want on action skill end, action skill cooldown rate is increased by 20% for a short time. This is very important, especially without the topped off talent from the Guardian ranks, because you're going to very much need as much cooldown as you can get to have your Iron Bear, specifically for bosses with immunities. If you're not farming a boss with immunities, you don't really need more cooldown. But how much damage these quickies do, if you have a ×2, you're going to pretty much kill any boss. If you have a ×2 especially, but you're going to need these stuck gyro jets increased by 75%. So that's what you want for the shield. Now that takes us into the quickie themselves. So as most Torg weapons that roll anointed, it will no longer show you that you get increased damage from stuck gyro jets. You still get increased damage. I just have no way of knowing what the damage increase is, because these quickies can roll 33% increased damage from each stuck gyro jet to 55% to 75%. So the amount of damage that you get from going from 33% to each to 75% is massive. And there's no anointed that's going to give you even close to that amount of damage. So using anointed, you can't really know that you're getting the stuck gyrojet increase. You can try to test it, but that's extremely hard as well, and I don't really know of a quick way to do that. And also that would only be for testing my own weapons, because every single anointed one could have a different role. So it really wouldn't even make sense for me to put a bunch of time into testing it, and then you guys just would have to test it yourself. So that doesn't really make sense. So what I recommend, getting any ×2 quickie and just get stuck gyrojets, increase damage by 75%. Don't worry about getting anointed. You're going to kill any boss on Mayhem 4 quick enough without having an extra anointed on these. And like I said, after quickies, you can go red lines, you can go alchemist, you can go bang sticks. They're all pretty decent, but like I said, none of them are going to compare to a quickie. So that's pretty much the entire build. Really good boss build. There's definitely a few things you absolutely need. Now, what I was talking about with all the cooldown stuff, like I said, if you're facing a boss that does not have immunity phases, you don't need any cooldown really, because you can pretty much one burst any boss that does not have immunities. Pretty much all of them. Grave Ward's insanely easy. Trance, very easy. Billy the Anointed, probably pretty easy. I don't even think I tried him, but I think he's squishier than all the other non-immunity bosses. So any boss without immunities, you don't need cooldown. Any boss you're facing that has immunities, different phases like that you can't burst through, you're going to need as much cooldown as you can get. So that's the entire build. Subscribe if you want to see more Borderlands 3 content. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this build. If you guys have any questions about where to get any of the items, how the build works, anything like that, leave it in the comments. I'll try to reply to everybody. And thanks for watching.